The camera recorded what this dog does at middle of the night with the baby. Most of us would never get out of bed in the middle of the night, unless you're one of the cursed or chosen ones who gets up at 3 a.m. for mysterious reasons. But that's a whole different story. This is the adorable moment a toddler sneaks out of the bed in the middle of the night to snuggle up to his best friend, the boxer dog named Brutus. The pair snuggled up together in bed. Apparently, the two have been inseparable since birth, possibly because of the dog's intuitive desire to protect the boy. Finn was born with a serious heart condition, and Brutus has been watching over him from the moment he left the hospital. Night camera footage captures 23-month-old Finn Knudsen grabbing his sheets and teddy bear before clambering into Brutus's basket and curling up next to the dog. Mother of four, Paige, set up the camera at home in Richmond, Virginia, to discover how her son ends up sharing a bed with the 4-year-old dog every night. She said the pair have been inseparable from the day her son came home from hospital. Finn was born with a heart defect and needed an emergency operation to save his life. In the video, the toddler appears to have waited for all the lights to go on before making the secretive trip to the best friend's basket. After climbing in, Finn lies across the dog's rump several times, trying to get comfortable, before also trying to sit on its back. Brutus barely moves while his bedmate fidgets and appears to remain fast asleep. Mother Paige said, "Finn just started sleeping in his big boy bed a little over a month ago, which is when Brutus began crawling up and sleeping in bed every night. It was as if he laid next to him to prevent him from rolling out of bed." Finn then began climbing out of his bed and sleeping on his floor, so naturally, Brutus began sleeping next to him there as well. The dog bed came into play recently, so we now have one downstairs and one upstairs, which eventually made it into Finn's room, and the rest was history. Paige added that she felt the dog had started sleeping next to Finn because it felt he needed extra protection. "When I was 20 weeks pregnant with Finn, the anatomy scan showed that he had a cyanotic heart defect called transposition of the great arteries. We were extremely lucky to have found this out prior to his birth, or he wouldn't be here with us today. Finn underwent multiple procedures immediately after his birth in order to keep him alive until he could have his open heart surgery. Finn had his arterial switch at 11 days old and did great, and after 7 weeks, a few unexpected complications, and an additional surgery, Finn was finally discharged home. Once we got home, it was as if Brutus just knew Finn needed some extra close monitoring, and he's been by his side ever since." Paige had been taking pictures of the pair of them curled up in the new dog bed ever since they received it. Then she and her husband Nate, a 38-year-old car shop worker, were intrigued as to what was happening before and after. Paige said, "I actually watched the footage in real time from my phone in the next room. There was no watching the footage back or rewinding it. I was right on the other side of the door, listening the whole time. I synced the camera with my phone so I could control when it recorded and when it just monitored. Immediately prior to me hitting record from my phone, I tucked Finn back in bed because I saw him on the camera climbing on the edge of the chair and I didn't want him to fall. I went back to my phone and hit record because I saw him untuck himself and I didn't want to miss it if he was going to get out of bed again to go play with Brutus, which is exactly what he did. I wasn't concerned Brutus would get annoyed because he's tolerated and behaved so incredibly well in other situations. So Finn rolling and climbing around him was something I knew he wouldn't be fazed by. Brutus insists on being in Finn's room, and he's not the kind of dog to do something he doesn't want to do. No one is forcing him to be in that situation. He's never shown any signs of aggression towards humans, or else he wouldn't be trusted around Finn or any of our other children. Now, for anyone who's ever co-slept with a toddler, you can attest to the fact that the flail is real, and this dog deserves an award for extraordinary patience and unconditional love. But while someone casts that medal for the pup, we'll just be over here watching hilarious video on repeat. What an adorable friendship. Do you love the cute friendship? The adorable video was taken on July 3rd. Another beautiful friendship that made your day. Welcoming home a new member of the family can be joyous, but stressful. Life instantly changes when a new baby comes home, and it doesn't just change for the human members of the family. New babies in the home affect our pets as well. Some animals adjust well to having a new baby brother or sister, but some struggle with the change. It depends on the individual animal and how they respond, and some dogs are more enthusiastic about babies than others. Boxers are one breed that's known for being great with young children and affectionate with babies. The American Kennel Club describes them, writing, "Their patience and protective nature have earned them a reputation as a great dog with children." Linus the Boxer is the perfect example of that. A video shared by Rumble Viral shows the affectionate dog rolling around on the ground, playing with his baby sister. The large dog is incredibly gentle but playful. He's very careful not to hurt the baby as he gives her kisses and nudges. It's clear that these two are going to be BFFs when they grow up. In fact, it seems they already are. There's a unique bond between babies and dogs. Did you think? Meet 2-year-old Jackson and Ludo, a kid and his devoted dog who are essentially attached at the hip. In fact, they haven't been separated for even a single day. Tia Laycock, the mother of Jackson and Ludo, told the Dodo that Jackson has never experienced life without Ludo. Since the beginning, they've never been apart. And it manifests. Jackson and Ludo are frequently seen engaging in games or having mini adventures during the day. Both of them must be present whenever one of them is. But when it's time to go to bed at night, Jackson and Ludo's connection is even more obvious. Jackson moved into his own bedroom when he was old enough to sleep soundly by himself. Laycock made the decision to install a nanny cam there to keep an eye on him. She soon learned, though, that she wasn't the only one doing this. The video caught Ludo walking into Jackson's room repeatedly throughout the night to make sure his favorite young child was comfortable and secure. Every night he performs it. Laycock found the dog's display of affection to be moving. She also constantly keeps a tight check on Jackson to see this nightly ritual with Ludo. She remarked, "It's really nice to see him perform, especially since it's not something he's been trained to do. He handles things himself." Ludo is obviously motivated by love. Jackson is in capable paws and hands. His connection with Ludo will undoubtedly endure forever. Knowing that the dog is so dedicated helps their mother sleep a little better. Laycock remarked, "It's amazing seeing the bond they both share, and it's wonderful to think that we'd have that extra set of eyes to alert us if something were to happen at night." Every parent wants the same thing for their child, to be happy, healthy, and to know that they're loved. Sure, in this instance, the parents in question have 4 legs, fur, and a staggering inability to resist that last dinner roll that you left out on the counter. Also, the babies are human, but the sentiment remains the same. Species differences aside, those who view themselves in parental position wish their charges only the best of things. Dogs are pretty well known for feeling like the babies in their lives are theirs to look after. For example, did you know that pit bulls were once referred to as the nanny breed? This behavior has roots in a dog's desire to please and their understanding that they belong to a family unit or pack. They observe the nurturing behaviors in us to love and care for this little being, and they instinctively want to be a part of it, usually creating priceless moments of bonding in the process that last a lifetime. Another interesting moment. A man has claimed that his security camera has captured the ghost of a boy and his pet wandering through a house in the early hours of the morning. Joey Nolan claims the strange visitor walked through his kitchen, and he's been left on edge wondering who the uninvited guest could have been on August 8th. The house in Long Island appears still with only Joey's cat stretching across the carpet at 12:54 a.m. But then the toe-curling footage shows a misty outline appearing in the bottom right next to the safety gate and performs a movement similar to zipping up a jacket before casually plonking itself on the floor. The shadow jumps to the upstairs hallway, and the figure repeats the movement before strolling away from the camera's eye. He said, "We don't know for sure, but let us know what you think," in his YouTube caption. One viewer's commented on Joey's video, "Anyone die recently in the family, I wonder? Pretty cool, but you don't see much. It looks like someone walking around." He replied, "No recent deaths, fortunately. We've been digging into the house's history to see if there's any significance with the date of the occurrence." Carrie Rogers appeared animated by the incident and added, "No disrespect, it's a heck of a lot more than most would see. With my 2 experiences, there was nothing to see. It was auditory. Of course, there's also the orbs, which we know are rarely paranormal. This is definitely more than an orb. Would be very interested to find any info you find out. If I was there, I would try to rule out other causes first. Definitely interesting. Great catch. Some have offered their own explanations, with one suggesting it was a spider, while another suggesting it was a bit of dust. If we started experiencing anything unpleasant, it might be time for us to up and leave. If our 19-month-old daughter started communicating with it, we might use her as an interpreter for a bit, but if it got to the point of dangerous or inappropriate, we may have to seek some intervention or get the heck out of there. From the feedback we're getting, it's just a child and their pet, and they seem like pretty chill company, so no need to rush to conclusions and ask them to move out just yet. It seems as though Joey may even have an explanation for the spooky sighting. My mother recently reminded me that my grandfather had passed on the 8th of August, 1999, 20 years ago to the date of the occurrence. Now we're thinking that it could just be a young version of Gramps visiting our daughter. That makes for a way more comforting conclusion.